Being in the mountains is probably one of the more peaceful places you can be in the world when you look at it. I've lived most of my life and skied in the mountains for most of my life, and it's magical.
Skiing's my life, whether it's racing with my teammates or free skiing with my family and friends. It means it's the world to me. It's my life. I love every second of it.
You get a little bit of solitude. If you're with your friends, experiencing nature.
Looking out at the beautiful views that you see there, like the majestic mountains, it just makes me really, really happy. Yeah, that's what I usually do in the start too, is just look out right before it's go time.
How do you stay in this sport for so long and keep it safe? You've just got to be smart. You've got to ski smart. And of course, I try to live up to my name as much as I can.
I like my head. Yeah, I see too many people out there skiing. You know, you can be confident, you can be the best skier in the world, but all it takes is one catch of the edge.
The helmet makes all the difference. You've got these metal rails that our kids are sliding on, so you hit your head on one of those and you're done.
I know that little errors happen just free skiing, and I don't want to put myself in that risk.
You have to have a personal responsibility and own that.
I mainly look for fit. I don't really care what people think or how it looks. Just mainly comfort and if it fits nice.
You just want to look for something that's well made and has that certification. You know, the companies are paying a lot of money to have their products stringently tested, and that's definitely going to give you the reassurance to know that you're buying a quality product that's going to protect and keep you safe.
We're hurling ourselves down bank turns and off crazy jumps, and we're not doing it alone. We're doing it 4 at a time. So having a helmet that fits is, I'd say, number one.
Different brands fit differently. Some fit a little more of an oval style head, or some fit a little more of a round style head. So most important thing again is going to be fit and finding the brand that fits you the best, sort of out of the box or off the shelf.
You know, some of them with a super loose strap, or they'll have their goggles underneath, and it doesn't work the same.
We don't need to allow for room for anything underneath, because the helmet is so much warmer to begin with that a lot of times people make the mistake of thinking they want a little bit more extra room. That's typically not something you want to do. Helmets have gotten a lot lighter in the last few years. Better quality plastics allows them to keep the weight of the helmet down. Better quality venting controls, now bigger holes. And then a lot of manufacturers are using or working with a Swedish company called MIPS, and they're putting MIPS in their helmets. MIPS stands for Multi-Directional Impact Protection System. And it's a layer that's built into the helmet to help control a really bad twisting fall. So it's a way for the manufacturer to offer a little bit more protection in the helmet and hopefully limit your chances of a concussion.
Concussion is a minor traumatic brain injury, so it's important that people realize that it is a brain injury. The best way, I guess, to think about it is that the brain itself is bruised, and concussions can happen from a direct blow to the head. They can also happen from a direct blow to the chest or neck or face with a force that's transmitted upwards. Concussion symptoms kind of come in 3 different categories. They can be physical symptoms, which are the symptoms people are probably going to recognize the earliest. So that might be headache, it might be a loss of consciousness, it may be that they feel unwell, their balance is off, they may have some nausea or even vomit a few times. As well, people can have what we call cognitive symptoms. So that may be when you feel a little bit in a fog, you're tired, you're fatigued, you have low energy, your concentration is off. And then also emotional symptoms like, just feeling a little bit more sad, feeling more irritable. Helmets are very important, and we would absolutely advocate that people wear helmets when they're on the hill, whether they're skiing or snowboarding. Helmets have been definitely proven to reduce the risk of injury, of head injury, particularly skiing and snowboarding, at least between 30 and 50%. So while helmets are very effective in reducing head trauma in general, they have not been shown to affect the rate or severity of concussions. The most important thing is that kids and adults ski or ride in control. So they need to know their own limits, they need to know what part of the hill they should be on, what their skill set is, and practice those skill sets just like with anything.
Now, if that didn't convince you to protect your melon out on the slopes, maybe this will.
Everything starts with what's right against your skin, so that would be your long underwear and your layering, and then it works as a system to your next layer, your jacket, and to stay dry with your waterproofing on your jacket and pants.
Dress warm, because you can always shed layers or open a jacket up, but when you're too cold, you can't do anything about it.
It's important to have good mobility when you're skiing or snowboarding, being able to move around, being active, and being comfortable.
I have a base layer. And then I have 2 insulated layers, and then I have my outer jacket, which is wind and waterproof.
Sunscreen obviously is a big thing. Water is a massive, staying hydrated up here. You don't realize it, but you're dehydrated really quickly when you're running lots of laps like they are.
Our bodies are what get us down that track, so it's doing whatever is in our control to make us go down that track as fast as we can.
A proper warm-up is an essential part of any ski day. We want to get our muscles warm. A warm muscle is a muscle that can learn, but we also want to get our brains activated.
Any little twist can hurt your back or your leg, so I always try to stretch.
We'll do a warm-up lap. We'll make sure that they know the speed because it's probably changed from the day before.
Once your body's all warmed up and your mind's ready to start doing stuff, there's a less risk of hurting yourself.
Some of us are in the gym before breakfast. Not all of us. I think more the older athletes are in the gym. This sport takes a toll on our bodies.
Trampolining to handstands to all types of balance just to get our bodies used to being able to save us from awkward situations in the air.
I know I might go to a summer camp in Whistler where I can train on the glacier there, but lots of water ramps and trampolining.
It's important to get out there and do it safely so you have a long, as much skiing, as long life skiing as much as you can.
I always encourage people, especially if you're a beginner, get a lesson. You're talking about jumping off cliffs, building up athletically to those bigger things, learning the mountain environment, learning from a mentor, that's fairly important.
Especially for beginner and even intermediate skiers. A good instructor is going to take you out for the day and show you how to ski really efficiently so you're not tired after 2 runs and you can enjoy the alpine environment on any mountain in any snow conditions right across Canada.
Start small, for sure. Just learn on the basics. Just hopping sideways onto a rail. Because I know lots of people just go out and just try that and they slip out and it really sucks.
I think part of the reason I've never been injured is not just soaring myself off of something I wasn't capable of.
Small jump, like a small cliff, just like baby step your way up. Because then once you get to the biggest feature, it won't feel that big because you've like done all the progression.
Number 1, stay in control. Seriously, you don't want to end up like this.
Number 2, people ahead of you have the right of way, and it's your responsibility to avoid them. You're skiing down a hill at a high speed, and someone in front of you makes a sharp right or left. You always have to be in control and be able to avoid them, or it's your fault.
Number 3, never stand where you obstruct the trail. Yeah, you don't want to stand like below a roller or on the landing of a jump because the people ahead of you, they can't see where you are.
Number 4, before starting downhill or merging onto another trail, be sure to look up and yield to other people. You gotta make sure before you start going down the hill that you're checking to make sure no one's coming up fast behind you, because you don't want to get in their way. It's gonna cause an accident.
Number 5. If you're involved in or witness a collision or accident, you must remain at the scene and identify yourself to ski patrol. Not only is it mandatory to stay at the scene of an accident, it's the right thing to do.
I'm so sorry. Okay, buddy?
Number 6. Always use proper devices to help prevent runaway equipment. So make sure this is working.
Number 7, observe and obey all posted signs and warnings. The warnings are there to keep you safe.
Number 8, keep off closed trails and closed areas. We strongly advise that you obey those signs, otherwise your skiing privileges could be taken away.
Number 9, you must not use lifts or terrain if your ability is impaired from the use of alcohol or drugs. Number 10, you must have sufficient physical dexterity, ability, and knowledge to safely load, ride, and unload lifts. If in doubt, ask the lift attendant.
There are additional hazards that a lot of people aren't necessarily prepared for. You might see a little row of bamboos somewhere trying to depict something. 9 times out of 10, those are just showing you that there's a hazard there and that you need to pay attention.
There's tree wells, there's cliffs, there are cornices, and there are also small avalanches that are going to happen.
Ski with a buddy or ski in a group.
Staying within sight and sound of people.
Paying attention to stiff, down, dead trees.
Being aware of the hazards of where you're going, knowing where you're going, having meeting times with your family members or friends.
Regardless of what the hazard is in there, if you experience one of those hazards firsthand and don't have anybody to help you, it's generally not a good thing. You need to take the adequate precautions, let's say, and understand the risk.
The first thing I do is I look at the weather. So I look at what are the temperatures at the different levels of the mountain.
Dressing for the conditions is of paramount importance.
High winds, rapid warming, lots of new snow.
Go from t-shirt weather to like snowing on us. So we tell the kids to just pack a full bag of layered clothing so they can peel off or add to if they need to. Sunscreen obviously is a big thing.
Slack country, backcountry, side country, out of bounds, and there's probably a few others as well. And the majority of them all refer to one of two things, either skiing inbounds or skiing out of bounds.
The backcountry is beyond the area that is controlled and managed by ski patrol.
Once you are out of bounds is generally in the woods or off the groomed trail or off a designated ski run specifically. It requires a different approach, I believe. You need to be prepared to, one, physically, you're going to have to start walking uphill, carrying all that safety gear and knowing how to use it. It's quite a bit different than just buying a lift ticket and going skiing.
Reading the public avalanche advisory, going with a local, practicing with the equipment.
To get started, I would hire a guide, and I would recommend hiring a guide to even my friends, because what that does is it lets you experience it in full. You get to really get out there. It's important to know where you are and what you're getting into when you step out of the ski area boundary.
A rescue blanket or the cell phone with the appropriate trail map of the area.
Skins for our skis, so we have different skis and boots and bindings that will allow you to go uphill.
Well, I always have my shovel, my probe, my avalanche beacon with fresh batteries.
And so if someone gets caught in the avalanche, we take out our transceiver and have to find someone that's buried under the surface that you can't see. So the transceiver gives you an approximate location of where they are under the snow. Your probe pinpoints them, and then your shovel is to dig them out.
It just takes the appropriate background and or education in order to be able to experience it safely.
When it comes to skiing and snowboarding, your mind immediately goes to sliding down the slopes. But the experience actually starts at the bottom of the mountain, where getting to the top is an important step. Some helpful tips about lift usage will ensure your safety and enjoyment of the downhill rush that follows.
There are a variety of ski lifts that you'll experience at different ski resorts across Canada. Now, one of the most basic lifts that you'll find as a beginner is this, the Magic Carpet. And you just slide right onto it. It's super simple. Shift your positioning forward and it just grips the base of your skis and up you go.
Another type of lift that you may encounter at a ski resort is what's known as a surface lift. There's a bunch of different kinds of those. You might see a rope tow or a handle tow, or maybe even what's known as a platter or a palma. But this one here, this is one of the most popular kind. This is what's known as a T-bar. As the T comes around, I look over my inside shoulder. He passes us the tee, I stand up nice and tall, try and relax my legs, and we're good to go. So just a reminder, this isn't a seat. You want to stand up nice and tall, relax. Bit of a narrower stance also helps. We'll see you at the top.
The most common lifts found at ski areas are called chair lifts. You'll find chairs configured with seats for 2, 3, 4, or 6 riders. Some chairs are high-speed versions that detach from the cable at the bottom and top for slower and controlled loading and unloading. Others are called fixed grip lifts, which means the chair is permanently attached to the cable and moves a little more slowly up the hill, but slow enough to allow you to safely get on and off. For all chairs, the loading process is similar and requires a few key things to focus on. As you enter the lift line, remove your pull straps from your wrists and look around for signage to help indicate the lift loading procedures. If you have any special questions, just ask the lift operator. Now that we're ready, we're going to follow the chair in front of us up to the stop line. I want to look over my shoulder as the chair approaches. The lift operator will steady the chair for me to load, and after I'm comfortably seated, I need to lower the bar for security.
As you approach the top, you'll see that there's a sign that tells you to lift the bar. And now get ready to get off the chairlift by lifting your tips, waiting for the skis to make contact with the snow, stand up, and slide off and get ready for a great run.
Ski lifts need to be respected for your safety and others sharing the lifts with you. A few rules of the ride will ensure everyone has a safe and enjoyable day on the slopes. When riding a chairlift, balance in the middle, particularly if you're riding alone. Sit still while riding, don't bounce or swing the chair. Avoid braking or snowplowing when unloading until you are clear from your fellow riders. When unloading from a surface lift, disengage and move out of the way. Remember, people are coming up behind you. When used correctly, ski lifts are generally very safe, but sometimes you can mess up. When riding a surface lift, if you run into trouble on the track, be sure to move yourself out of the way. When loading a chairlift, if anything causes you to fall, be sure to keep your head down until the lift stops and you have a chance to safely move out of the way with the help of the operator. At the top, if you fail to unload, stay calm and stay seated. There's always a safety mechanism to stop the lift, and the lift operator will help you to safely unload from there.
Every kid wants to graduate to riding the chair, and for younger kids, adult assistance is sometimes required. The lift operator can also assist with smaller kids when lined up for loading on the operator's side. Here are a few key tips for loading and riding with kids. Before entering the loading area, make sure they know the plan so everyone is well positioned to execute safely. Assist with lifting kids into the seat as required and help them into place. Next, make sure that they're seated with bums back on the seat. And finally, if the chair has a footrest or dividing bar, place the bar between their legs. When unloading, a little assistance may be required to help the skis reach the snow and for everyone to be aligned for a safe and smooth exit. Look, load, lower, lift, leave. The 5 L's to remember for an enjoyable day sliding down the slopes that starts with a safe and comfortable ride to the top.